A very good morning, my dear students. Welcome back to Social Studies online class. Second chapter, the natural realms of the earth. In the previous class, we have studied the natural realms of the earth. Once again, revise our previous class. There are four natural realms of the earth. These realms are very important. What are that? First, lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere and biosphere. Lithosphere. Lithosphere is the solid crust or the hard top part of the earth. You have already studied how it is formed. Lithosphere is made up of rocks and minerals and covered with thick layers of soil. It has high mountains, plateaus, plains, valleys and deep basins which are filled with water. Next, landforms. Landforms. So, first order landforms. First order landforms. What are first order landforms? First order landforms are oceans and continents. Then why these only called first order landforms? Because first they are formed. After the formation of the earth, these are formed, oceans and continents. First order landforms are oceans and continents. And next, second order landforms. Second order landforms are mountains, plains and plateaus considered as second order landforms. These are formed due to the internal force of the earth. Next, third order landforms. What are third order landforms? Curved mountains, valleys, deltas. These are third order landforms. How it is formed? These are formed due to the external process of the earth. So, third order landforms were found due to the weathering, erosion, transportation and deposition. In the previous class, you have studied this weathering, erosion, transportation and deposition. Work of water. Work of water. Second order landforms are formed by the work of agents like water, wind, rivers, etc. So, let us observe how these agents shape the landforms. Work of water. Many landforms are formed due to the work of water or river. Now, in the previous classes, you have observed how rivers erode, transport and deposit rocks and materials. So, due to the work of rivers, many landforms like valleys, canyons, plunge pools, plains, meanders, oxbow lakes, deltas are formed. So, this work of rivers primarily starts all the high mountains. They flow from the high mountains so quickly and great force resulting in cutting the mountains vertically. So, V-shaped valleys. At the high mountains, they flow from the high mountain so quickly and the great force resulting in cutting the mountains vertically. So, it is a result deep valleys. Deep valleys are formed. They are narrower at the bottom and wider at the top. Narrower at the bottom, wider at the top. So, this type of valleys are called V-shaped valleys. Understand, children? Due to the work of rivers, many landforms like V-shaped valleys are formed. So, this work of rivers primarily start at the high mountains. They flow from the high mountain so quickly and with great force, resulting in the cutting of mountains vertically. Cutting of the mountains vertically. So, it a result deep valleys are formed. They are narrower at the bottom and wider at the top. This type of valleys are called V-shaped valleys. In some cases, when the water flows with high pressure, so hard rocks come in their way. Some cases, when the water flows with a high pressure, so hard rocks come in their way. Then the river cut a narrow valleys. In this case, gorges are formed. The gorges formed are so steep, that is with some slopes. Some examples of such gorges are Bison Gorge in Andhra Pradesh on the river Godavari, and Indus Gorge in Kashmir. Understand, children? Bison Gorge in Andhra Pradesh on the river Godavari, and Indus Gorge in Kashmir. Now, children, we have understood how V-shaped valleys and gorges are formed. Now, let us see how the canyons are formed. Canyons are same as gorges. They are steep and deep. Deep as gorges. But the difference is that a canyon is wider at the top than at the bottom. But a gorge isn't. Okay, children? I think you understood the topic canyon. Now, children, I think you all know about the waterfalls. Yes, the waterfalls are most numerous in mountain areas. When the water falls with great force, it digs out the rocks beneath to form a plungy pool. The waterfalls are most numerous in mountain areas. When the water with great force, it digs out the rock beneath, so to form a plungy pool. The direction of these plungy pool forms is downwards. In plain areas, the water gets slowed down and deposit particles like stones, sand on its bank. For example, in plain areas, the water gets slowed down and deposit particles, stones and sand on its bank. So sometimes when the river is in flood, it has greater force and cut the soil. This cutting forms the silt. When the river is not in flood, it deposits the silt. Wherever the silt is deposited, these fertile plains are formed. Where the silt is deposited, these fertile plains are formed. So these are also called fertile floodplains. So this is how vast plains like Ganga plains and the Krishna Godavari plains. Example, Ganga plains and Krishna Godavari plains are formed. Next, meanders. When the flood water comes again, the riverbed cuts a new path. This resulted in the formation of meanders, which are gently turns like a snake. Now, due to the deposition along the sides of meanders, they come closer and closer. These are closer and closer. After some period, these meanders loop cut off and separate from a river and forms a cut-off lakes. So this is how these cut-off lakes are called oxbow lakes. This is how the meanders and oxbow lakes are formed. Understand, children? Due to the deposition along the sides of meanders, they come closer and closer. After some period, these meander loops cuts off and separate from the river and forms a cut-off lakes called oxbow lakes. This is how the meanders and oxbow lakes are formed. Delta. Next one, delta. Children, you have learned in your lower classes about the delta. You all know the delta like Godavari delta and Krishna delta. Godavari delta and Krishna delta. So this word delta is originated from the Greek alphabet delta. Understand, children? When a river reaches the sea, some fine materials carried long way with the river get deposited at the mouth of the sea. So this area is formed as a delta. When a river reaches the sea, some fine materials carried long way with the river get deposited at the mouth of the sea. So this area is formed. This area is formed as delta. What do you mean by delta? A delta is an area of low flatland shaped like a triangle where a river splits and spread out into several branches before entering the sea. Okay, children, till now we have learned how the V-shaped valleys, gorges, canyons, a plungy pool, plains, meanders, oxbow lakes and deltas are formed due to the work of water. Due to the work of water and river. Now, let us see how the work of glaciers. How the work of glaciers affect the other landforms. You know that in very cold regions like Himalayas and polar regions, in very cold regions, it snow heavily. They even get snowfalls instead of rainfalls. So this snow accumulates of one place and turns into ice. So as it is formed, it flows slowly and reach the warm areas. There it gets melted and small rivers start flowing down. This is how the Indus river and Ganga and Brahmaputra rivers are formed. Understand, children? So glaciers move very slowly and basically they move due to the force of gravity. So when glaciers move, the lifts pieces of rocks and transport them. This process is called plucking. When glaciers move, the lifts pieces of rocks and transport them. This process is called plucking. These pieces of rocks carried are rubbed away by the surface of the rocks. This process is called abrasion. Understand, children? The dual process of plucking and abrasion forms the U-shaped valleys. So, the dual process of plucking and abrasion forms the U-shaped valleys by the work of glaciers. Work of waves. Second topic. Next topic, work of waves. So, the erosion and deposition by the sea waves gives rise to coastal landforms. as sea waves continuously strike at the rocks. Cracks develop in them over time. Gradually, caves are formed on the rocks. As these cavities become bigger and bigger, only the roof of the caves remaining, thus forming sea arches. Further erosion breaks the roof and only walls are left. So these walls-like features are called stacks. Coast rising almost vertically above sea water is called sea cliff. So when sea cliffs weather further, they form rugged capes and bays. A cape is headland cutting out into the sea. A bay is wide-mouthed races in the line of the sea coast. The sea waves deposit sediments along the seashores, forming beaches, etc. Work of wind. Next one, work of wind. Strong winds carry sand and fine soil which strike the hard rocks. These two acts as abrasive sandpaper and erode the hard rocks. The wind action creates a number of interesting erosional and depositional features in the desert. First one, sand dunes and mushroom rocks. Sand dunes. Due to the weathering and persistent wind action, there is a large accumulation of fine sand in many deserts. These forms sand dunes. Mushroom rocks. Mushroom rocks, wind erode the lower section of the rock. Wind erode the lower section of the rocks more than the upper part. Therefore, such rocks have narrower at the bottom and wider at the top like mushroom. So, they are called mushroom rocks. Sand dunes, due to the weathering and persistent wind action, there is a large accumulation of fine sand in many deserts. So, the fine dust blown behind the desert limit is deposited on the neighboring lands. Usually, this is yellow in color. So, it is very fertile. This soil is called loess. This soil is called loess. So, loess is in fact fine loam, rich in lime, very consistent and extremely porous. The plains formed by the deposition of loess are called loess plains. Understand, children? So, loess is in fact fine loam, rich in lime, very consistent and extremely porous. So, the plains formed by the deposition of loess are called loess plains. Next, action of vegetation and human beings. In this section, we shall briefly examine the impact of biosphere on the lithosphere. In what ways do you think vegetation, trees, plants and grass affected rocks? They contribute to the weathering of rocks by driving roots into the fine cracks or holes in the rocks. They also enable water and moisture to enter into the rocks, which further enable weathering. On the other hand, the plants or grass cover on the soil prevent easy denudation or transportation of the soil by wind and water. So, human being, especially after the Industrial Revolution, have had a major role in transforming the crust on which we live. Okay, children, hope you all understood the topic, the natural realms of the earth, lithosphere, first order landforms, second order landforms and third order landforms, work of water and work of glaciers and work of wind. Thank you.